Some people ask, of course, quite naturally, why have two bass players on the same recording? And there's, of course, the obvious reason that it's for musical purposes that you want to show two different ways of playing the instrument. But there is actually also another, little more on the personal level reason that I think is maybe funny. Anyway, it was intriguing to me to find out how Norman Granz also thought. Because the story goes back a little further than that. One of the suggestions, one of the trips that I was supposed to do with Norman and JATP, Jazz at the Philharmonic, I couldn't because I'd already accepted to go to Japan with Dexter Gordon and Kenny Drew and Tootie Heath, I think. And those were my very close friends. So even though Norman didn't like for anybody to say that he wasn't available, I had to say that no, in this case I cannot make it because I'm already set to go to Japan. So he said, okay, if you can't make it, you can't make it. And then I didn't hear anything more about it until I come back from this tour that I did in Japan. And the same day as I got back, my wife told me there was a call from Norman from Stockholm if I could join the JATP for the rest of the tour. And although I was tired, I think, okay, let's go, now we're at it. So I went to Stockholm, and I remember coming into the Sheraton Hotel, and in the lobby I just saw Ray Brown go into the elevator, and I thought, well, it's kind of strange that he's still here. Maybe he was supposed to do something else, but apparently he was still there. And I came in more or less like last minute, so I just checked into the hotel and came down to the bus with my bass. And I came in, and I remember that one of the first persons to say hello to me was Roy Eldridge. He says, "Hey, Niels, what are you doing here?" And I thought, wait a minute, don't people know that I'm coming up here to play? And one by one they came in, and they were equally surprised. So we get to the hall, and Ray was the last one, I guess, to know about this. But the reason for me being there was the fact that Ray had raised his voice complaining about him having to play for all these horns, because JATP concerts could easily be 3 hours, and he said something like he wasn't there only to play for the horns. And I guess personalities, they have their different ways of showing their satisfaction or dissatisfaction. Anyway, Norman was like a manipulator also. So he said, so you don't like to play for the horns that long, okay? So without telling Ray, he had called me in Copenhagen and just brought me on as a surprise. And then, since we were there anyway, he decided, well, why don't we have the two bass players play something together? And I remember the first time we did that, it wasn't in Stockholm, but I think it was maybe the next day in Malmö. And I didn't really know how to go about this because I had and I have a lot of respect for Ray, and I liked him very much as a person as well. And I felt there was this competitive thing that all of a sudden was introduced. And without saying anything bad about North America, that's always the thing that is very different from Europe, to bring the competitiveness out front, sort of like make you gladiators. And with my temper, it usually makes me back off a little bit because I don't want to be in a fight. I can't see music as a fight as such. But this was like Ray and I was put together in a room to make up our minds as to what we're going to try to play. So Ray is also smart, was also very smart, and also a bit of a manipulator. So I couldn't think of anything, and I said, what do you like? So next thing I know, I'm playing a Ray Brown arrangement out of his head, where he features himself in a very comfortable way and makes me do a lot of hard work, which I laughed at. I thought it was interesting. So my response was, well, how about playing something that I feel comfortable with? Let's play one of the lines from the bebop era. Let's play, I think I suggested Au Privat by Charlie Parker. So Ray said, yeah, that's fine, that sounds fine, let's go. So we get in there, and I scuffle through his arrangement, and he shines like, I don't know. And then we come to my contribution, Au Privat, and I thought we were going to play the theme unison. No, I had the theme. So Ray just looked at me. Nice. Anyway, that's what I remember from the first time we tried to play together. And we finished this tour. And then when the thing in Montreux in 1977 came up, Oscar Peterson and Norman Granz had been talking together, and they thought that it was a good idea. There was something good about bringing the two bass players on together. But, like Oscar brought up, I think that they need somebody to play against. And that, of course, meant that he was supposed to be in the bandstand. And you don't play against Oscar Peterson. At best, you play with him. So anyway, we brought out there, and the same thing goes. No rehearsals whatsoever. Just talking about tunes, and then you play first, and then I play second, and Niels, you do this, and Ray, you do that. And as I can see on this list, that is the program that we played on that occasion, he went out and played 3 solo tunes. I'm sure just to sort of set the mood so the two bass players would feel reasonably intimidated before they came out there. And then I remember, and this is maybe interesting about Norman's way of thinking, I remember that when my name was mentioned and I was supposed to be called out on the bandstand, Norman leaned over and said, "Go get him." And that is really far away from my way of thinking, that I would say, Scandinavian way of thinking. Who am I supposed to go and get? I was under the illusion that we were supposed to go and play music. But apparently I was supposed to go out and compete with Ray. Which like I said, I'm not very good at that. Anyway, we go out and we play, and everything goes very smoothly. And I'm looking at the tunes. I can't remember which tune, but and I don't have the record myself, and I haven't seen the DVD that is coming out. But I think it's maybe one of the encores that Claude Knaups, the MC at the Montreux Jazz Festival, came out to say, "Ladies and gentlemen," and they're going to give you another number, and he just happened to slip over my wire to my amplifier. So my amp was dead. And so I'm out there saying, "Okay, what now?" And then Oscar, of course, says, "Well, you take turns. You play Ray's bass. You play the first whatever." So that's maybe the only thing that can upset me a little bit, that the unusual thing, the unexpected thing happens. So I said, "Okay, if it has to be like that, okay, I will play." So Ray handed me his bass, and I played something, and by now maybe I was, due to the circumstances, a little competitive also. So I tried to play a little more technical than I had been doing up till now. And then Ray leans over and whispers in my ear, "Not on my bass."